Hey guys, Manny CA here. Thought I'd go over some Revolver basics on bullet fit with you guys. Had a couple questions about people asking me. I know it's been floating around on the web about how some of the cylinders sometimes they're not cut correctly to the proper diameter, and what happens is your bullet. See what happens is here's a cylinder, and when you put your bullet in, your round through here, as your bullet gets shot and tries to exit the cylinder, the throat right here will swage it down or make it smaller before it enters the bore of your gun. And what happens then is you got a bullet that was one diameter going in through the back here, comes out a smaller diameter through here, and then you got all heck, your accuracy goes all the heck, because what happens is your bullet just is bouncing around inside your bore as it exits. It's not gripping the rifling correctly, and you get poor accuracy. So this video is kind of just going to go over a quick tip of how you can improve your accuracy and know if you've got a gun that has tight throats, what they're called tight cylinder throats. I know for a while there Ruger's quality control wasn't what it should have been, and you got a lot of single actions that had really tight throats. And what that was you've got small exit here, large exit here, no good. And what would happen is you got, like I said, bad accuracy. One of the ways you can figure out how tight your throats are is just to take a bullet, and what you do is you drop them inside your throats. Of course, you want to do this after you clean your revolver. Make sure you clean this out really well. You want to make sure you get all fouling, gunk, lead, any traces of powder, anything that's in there. If you look inside your cylinder and you see any kind of rings anywhere in there, I try to do my best clean as out, but you kind of see just where the forcing cone starts in there. If you look in there and you see any kind of junk, lead buildup, lube buildup, you want to remove it before you do this, otherwise it's just a waste of time. So what we'll do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set up the way I do it, and I'll show you. Here we've got the 625 that we had yesterday that we were shooting on our other video, yesterday for me. And then we've got the 45 Colt here, the convertible 45 Colt, 45 ACP. And this is just the 45 ACP cylinder I've got. So I'm going to set it up. You guys take a look. Alright, here you see we've got the cylinder clamped down in our vise here, our padded vise. Of course, anytime you're using any type of vise, you always want to make sure that you've got wood or leather protecting your piece over here. That goes without saying. So this is the Black Hawk 45 Black Hawk convertible, and what we're going to do is we're going to drop our bullets into them, and this is how I do it. Drop your bullets into your cylinder just like you're loading them. So you can see them in there. Drop them in. And if you look in there, you see them, they're all sitting there already. See? So now what you want to do is I use a brass punch, kind of just push them down. Alright, see, so I don't want them falling on the floor like that and ding up. Now you see how that just pushed right through with just finger pressure? Not a lot of pressure, they're going through. So right there, your bullet, and some of them are a little bit looser than others, and I think when it gets down to that, you're looking at just bullet variances. This one's getting hung up on the piece of leather I got hanging up down there. Those are just variances in bullets. As you see, they all exited. No pounding, no hammering, no nothing. We just did. So that'll show you, that's one way that you check and see how tight your cylinder throats are on your revolvers. And if that's any tighter than that, and if you find yourself having to pound your way through, then you know you've got a problem. Of course, with these are those moly coated bullets I was showing you. So they tend to slip through pretty easily. You see how nice those go. And I've also got, I'll show you over here, we've got some Sierras some 45s jacketed, and you could do the same thing with the jacket. Of course, the jacketed, I found these to be half a thousandths bigger. I'm going to put them in those three right there. And again, you kind of can see the differentiation in the heights in the back of the bullets. So, like I said, when they cut these, when they go through and they cut these things at the factory, they've got one cherry, one die, and they drill. And they don't just drill, you know, one gun. They're drilling hundreds of guns, maybe dozens of guns with the same bit. And as they keep drilling the bit, gets dull, of course, dulls out, and they're not sharpening them all the time. And that's what was going on with Ruger in the beginning. Is they were just, I think it was just a money thing or a quality control issue thing. But now they seem to be really doing really well, as you can see with this new model Blackhawk here. This one is shot out of the box. This is the flat top model. You kind of can see it right there. It's shot out of the box beautifully. No problems at all with the faux ivory grips. So, same thing with the... See, they kind of just push right through. They'll push out through. These are I can feel just a little bit more resistance, but like I said, they're a little bit bigger in diameter. So, oh, we got one more. They exit through pretty good without having to hammer the hell out of them. If you find yourself not being able to do that, chances are your cylinder throats are too tight. One more quick tip I thought you guys might get some use from. Whenever you're removing your revolver screws, or basically revolvers, because a lot of semi-autos really don't need any screws, do yourself a favor and just tape your hollow end ground screwdriver. Get some tape on there so you don't nick up your screws. That'll keep your screws looking new for years. And you did remember to use a hollow ground screwdriver, right? And not the regular screwdrivers that you get at the supermarket, right? Because those, remember, those come to a point like this, whereas the hollow ground, they're more rounded, just like so. See that, the flat edge? So you got more grip. Just a quick tip in case you guys or any newbies out there. Tape them up. That way, when you're screwing them in, you don't have to worry about ugly looking screws. Alright, so let's say that you perform the test and your cylinder throats are tight. So now you know you got to do something about it. Easiest thing to do is there's a lot of places online that you can ship your cylinder to. They'll ream it out to your specifications, whatever size you want. Or you can do it yourself. That's what I did. From Brownells, I ordered a reamer. This is a 451 reamer. That's .451. I think it's .451 and a half. I gotta look. But what that'll do, or actually I'm sorry, it's 452. I believe this is 452, the reamer. And what that does is it puts all your throats, all your cylinder throats into spec. And what you do is, see, you've got a guide right here, the collet. And you're going to clamp this down, and you're going to use a T-handle here that comes with kind of like a tap and die set. You got a T-handle you put on here. Let me see if this remembers what this says on here. This tells me what it is. No, this doesn't say the size, but I remember this was a 452. So then what you do is you clamp it down, you insert it into your cylinder just like that. A lot of cutting oil. You put a lot of cutting oil in here. And then you just turn and push slowly. Do not try to do this with a drill press or with a hand drill, because you'll end up messing it up. Ask how I know. As you work on these, you'll get shavings building up right in here. Do a quick pass, go all the way through. I'm not doing this one because I don't have any that need to be done at the time. They're all pretty much reamed out. Come out when you start doing it. You want to come out when you're coming out the other side. Make sure you use a lot of oil. Get rid of all the shavings before you decide to pull it back through. That way you don't scratch anything up. And after that, just use some of your favorite metal polisher, like a Flitz or something like that. That's not going to remove any more material and buff them out. That right there is probably the easiest way to go through and do it. I know a lot of the earlier Rugers had, like I had mentioned before, I had a couple earlier Rugers, and that's what I use. And this is a Manson Reamer, and they're out of looks like Michigan, I think. Yeah, Manson Reamers. Yeah, they're out of Michigan. They did this, and I had them resharpen this guy. So these things work really well, and you'll be surprised at the accuracy you'll get once you actually do this. You know, your gun's shooting patterns instead of groups. You might want to think about reaming it out. Of course, the next step, what you want to do is you can slug your bore here, just like we do with the rifles. Take one of your bullets, clamp down your pistol, and kind of just drive it through the end. And then what you want to do is you want to drop that slug through here. And if they drop through and they drop all the way through, you're fine. You have nothing else to do. But I think this is easier because slugging is just a hassle. You got to clamp it and you got to hammer on the gun. This right here, pull it off, set it up, see if it goes through. So hopefully that'll help you guys out. It's just a quick tip.